and the title of my senior individual performance is All the World's a Fair, Exploration, Encounter, and Exchange at the Centennial International Exhibition of 1876. Those persons who doubt the truth of the oft-repeated assertion that the Americans are the most enterprising and go-ahead people of the world should come to Philadelphia. After one visit to the Centennial Exhibition, they would doubt no longer. Quite the compliment, especially coming from the New York Times. My name is Byard Taylor, and I'll be your guide as we explore the Centennial Exhibition. Let me begin with a word about where we are. The fairgrounds cover some 285 acres of Philadelphia's lovely Fairmount Park. It was just 100 years ago in Philadelphia that our founding fathers signed the Declaration of Independence. Since then, the United States has grown from a cluster of colonies on the edge of the New World to a robust, independent nation with over 40 million citizens. We've triumphed in wars against mighty world powers, and as we all remember, we recently survived a painful civil war, the deadliest in our young nation's history. You are about to embark on a tour of the Centennial International Exhibition, which celebrates 100 years of American progress. In Philadelphia, during the summer of 1876, millions of fairgoers just like you vicariously explored the world, encountering its manifold inhabitants and exchanging unprecedented innovations along the way. So let's get started. Memorial Hall, the building behind me, houses the first international art exhibition in the United States. Right now, it's not too crowded, but you should have been here on the day of the opening ceremonies. On May 10, 1876, Philadelphia was enwrapped in the flags of all nations. As visitor J.S. Ingram put it, the gates opened at 9 o'clock. By 10, when President Ulysses S. Grant arrived, 186,000 fairgoers had assembled in front of Memorial Hall to witness the opening ceremonies, the largest crowd ever reported on the North American continent, according to the New York Herald. President Grant took the stage and proudly declared the exhibition open. The crowd followed President Grant here to Machinery Hall, where he ceremonially pulled the lever on the Corliss engine, the colossal athlete of steel and iron behind me. The crowd cheered and threw their hats in the air as 13 acres of machinery began to spin cotton, print newspapers, make shoes, and pump water. The Corliss engine quickly became the most celebrated object at the Centennial. Right now, it's powering some 800 other machines through an elaborate electrical system. At first, many visitors couldn't tell if they were overwhelmed by what they saw or by the sheer challenge of seeing it all. Japanese Commissioner Fukui Makoto was quoted in Harper's Weekly as saying, "The first day, crowds come like sheep. Run here, run there, run everywhere. One man start, 1,000 follow. Nobody can see anything, nobody can do anything. All rush, push, tear, shout, make plenty of noise, say damn great many times, get very tired, and go home." Now, you all paid the price of admission, and you're going to get your 50 cents worth. That's why it's a good thing you have me. I'll show you what you need to see, and along the way we'll talk about what all this means. So, here we are in Machinery Hall, a prime site for technological exchange. It was here on June 25th that Alexander Graham Bell dazzled a committee of judges with his telephone. Upon picking up the receiver, the esteemed Sir William Thomson exclaimed, "It does speak! It is the most wonderful thing I have seen in America." Meanwhile, another young inventor, Thomas Edison, proudly displayed his quadruplex telegraph. Other items on display include the mechanical calculator and the typewriter, as well as machines for use in agriculture and heavy industry. The unprecedented technological exchange taking place in this building serves as a clear example of the magnificent industrial power of the United States. No wonder the London Times reported, "The American invents as the Greeks sculpted and the Italian painted. It is genius." If all of this walking around makes you hungry, fear not. These fairgrounds also host plenty of culinary exchange. You could try the American restaurant, or, if you're looking to be more adventurous, visit Lauber's German restaurant, the Turkish Bazaar, or the French restaurant, where the waiters speak all modern languages. Popcorn, Heinz ketchup, and Heinz root beer have all become popular since being introduced here. For a quick exotic snack, I like a banana. Banana. Like many visitors, this is my first opportunity to try the curious yellow fruit. Now that we've had a bite to eat, let's move on to main exhibition hall. On the way over, let's discuss how we got here. Let me say a word about the history of World's Fairs. The first World's Fair was held in London in 1851, and it was an enormous success. This is the first official World's Fair held in the United States. Professor John L. Campbell of Wabash College proposed an exhibition to celebrate the nation's centennial 10 years ago, and the idea gathered enough momentum that Congress established the United States Centennial Commission in 1871. Construction was soon afoot in Philadelphia, the birthplace of the nation, under the leadership of Architect-in-Chief Aaron J. Schwartzman, a young German immigrant who ultimately designed 39 of the 249 buildings on the fairgrounds. Covering more than 21 acres, Main Exhibition Hall is the largest building in the world today. Here, you can explore the entire world under one roof. 38 countries are here, including the United States. In the center, you'll find American displays and manufacturers. It's about a third of the building. The rest of the building is packed with exhibits representing 37 foreign nations. In Denmark's exhibit, right here, you will find furniture, maps, and handicrafts. It's where I purchased my new pocket watch. Inscribed in the walls of the entrance to the Egyptian section are the words, "The oldest people of the world sends its morning greeting to the youngest nation." Japan was closed to the West prior to 1854, and so for many fairgoers, the Centennial represents their first encounter with Japanese culture. They've certainly made a strong impression, constructing a lavish display in Main Exhibition Hall and shelling out $600,000 to construct 2 traditional buildings elsewhere on the fairgrounds. In total, 11 nations chose to construct their own buildings, as did 2/3 of the states of the Union. Unlike previous World's Fairs, where everything was concentrated in one massive building, the Centennial utilizes a multi-building plan, with 5 principal buildings and hundreds of ancillary buildings scattered around the fairgrounds. Some of the most popular ancillary buildings are the Japanese Dwelling, the United States Government Building, and the Women's Pavilion, which is just down Belmont Avenue. Now, the way that the first Women's Pavilion in exhibition history came to be is quite interesting. In 1873, the Centennial Board of Finance appointed the Women's Centennial Executive Committee, hoping that the ladies would help generate enthusiasm for the celebration. There was the added bonus of women to help soothe encounters between Northerners and Southerners in a nation still fresh from the Civil War. Now, the committee was also tasked with designing a special display, commemorating women's work in Main Exhibition Hall. However, less than a year before opening day, the women were informed that their space was no longer available. When I read about this, I assumed that they would angrily give up. Instead, under Elizabeth Gillespie's leadership, they rallied to raise over $31,000 to erect the 1-acre building behind me, celebrating the role of the fairer sex in the nation's history. I will admit I was skeptical at first, but I'm very impressed. Not only by the sights in this building, but also by the fact that 75 women are exhibiting patented inventions here, the largest number and proportion of exhibits by women at any exhibition in history. I haven't encountered many colored people on the fairgrounds, except for in the Restaurant of the South, where an old plantation darky band illustrates southern plantation scenes. Colored people have been barred from almost all festivities, but they remain hopeful that race hatred will someday abate. In a recent article for the press, John T. Jennifer looked forward to the next centennial in 1976, when he foresaw color lines wiped out and caste gone. The American citizen, white or black, will be honored and loved, and mind and moral excellence will be the measure of the man. This is where I like to finish my tours. The view from Sawyer Observatory is awe-inspiring. At 300 feet, this is the tallest structure in the nation. From up here, you can see the fairgrounds, the city, and the surrounding country. Look, there, you can see the colossal hand and torch of Frederic Auguste Bartholdi's Statue of Liberty, which he dreams of someday installing in New York Harbor. Hopefully he raised enough funds over the summer to finance the rest of the project. Exquisite. The fair opened on May 10th, 1876, and it closes on November 10th, in a little over a week. I know I'm going to miss this. But where else can you see the world without ever leaving town? Official estimates place total attendance at nearly 10 million, which is a quarter of the United States population. The exhibition hasn't even closed yet, but I know it's made history. Just look! Our nation has proven itself on a global stage in an extraordinary fashion. Along the way, we've exchanged innovations that will surely change the world, and we've encountered both our fellow citizens and foreigners. I'd like to end with some words that I wrote after my first day on the fairgrounds. I have watched the faces of American country people as they here, undoubtedly for the first time in their lives, look upon Japanese, Turks, Greeks, or Moors, and I have not yet discovered the slightest expression of repulsion or instinctive prejudice of race. To the contrary, it is easy to detect an agreeable surprise in most cases, as if the spectator found an unexpected likeness to his own stock and recognized, if unconsciously to himself, that the ends of the earth are not so very far apart after all. Thank you, and welcome to the Centennial Exhibition.